Let's call on another person from the great Republic of Croatia, Dorian Stern. Let's have you on board. Thank you, Patrick.
So I've been a congressman since the beginning of the Congress. My promise for the last term was that Liberland, up until now, has been running more or less as a startup, as it had no other choice. And I believe that right now is a transition period that we start behaving and operating like a real country and move away from the startup mentality. In the last 3 months, we have achieved some steps in that direction. For example, a higher percentage of all expenses and decisions are fully transparent and on-chain with, you can see both what has been done and the decision process behind it. So for example, if you go to blockchain.liberland.org, you can see all the government finances. Well, not all for now, it's between 30 and 50%, but it's 30 or 50% more than it had been before. My priority for the next 3 months would be to establish rules for private initiatives to work to further the cause of Liberland. So, for example, the standard way that somebody wishes to contribute to Liberland is they hear about Liberland, they come to VIT, they talk, and they say, I want to contribute to Liberland. Here, VIT, I will donate this amount to the government, and you do what you want with this, which is fine. It has worked as a startup so far. But we are a libertarian country, and it's a bit, against our ideology to continue having all of this done through the government, especially now that we have thriving private businesses and private settlements. And my priority is to set up the rules for rewarding contributions from outside donations to flow into private initiatives.
Thank you. I'm going to call on Dorian. What should be our three biggest priorities as a government and a nation?
Yeah, so we, as I say many times, we are in this stage when we are maturing from a startup to a nation, and we need to handle that well. The first priority in my mind, and I have a bit of a different perspective because I talk to our users and customers, so to say, every day. We need better systems, and we need better teams to manage them. So if you take a look at everything that Liberland is doing, Liberland is passing a minimum bar, but we should be passing a much higher bar. A lot of the day-to-day problems that we encounter would just not exist if we were better at systems and building teams. So yeah, one major component of that is, as I mentioned previously, privatization. I believe that the government is doing too much things that should be handled privately. For example, majority of the of course, the government needed to seed something regarding the settlement, but I believe the way to go forward would be privately. And the other point is a lot of our teams internally, again, could be much better. And I think the role of the government should be hiring and setting up the systems and not handling day-to-day emergencies like it is now.
Okay, great analysis of what's going on. Thank you, Dorian. Dorian, who's our most important international partner and why? And maybe name a second most important one or third. Go ahead, Dorian.
Hey, I actually think that diplomacy is a bit premature, because the way I see it is, yes, we are growing fast and I see a good future for Liberland, but it is a bit as if a teenage boy that's 13-year-old sees a supermodel and decides to ask her out. Like it's not gonna work, right? We need to grow. We need to hit the gym. We need to.
Well, it worked in your case, Dorian.
Thank you, thank you. She went to Liberland herself. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Right. I mean, just look at the numbers. We are growing like 20-30% year on year, but still we have 1,000 citizens, you know, and we are talking about going to talk to the president of United States, the president of European countries, all this. This might work. I'm not saying that we should stop it. I'm just saying that we would have more success if we focus on growth first, and this is where my focus is going to be.
Great, great, good. Thank you, Dorian. So let's see who else is. Dorian, what do you see us going in 5 to 10 years? What's your vision on what it could be like?
So I believe that the idea of Liberland will be doing much better than it is doing today. Ironically, hostility from governments cannot really kill us, but what could kill it is, for example, if Trump decides to go through with the Freedom Cities initiative, and instead of people joining Liberland, they just join a Freedom City. But even though that would be bad for Liberland, that would be good for the idea of Liberland, because we won just in a different way. In that same sense, I see us growing our global network with, especially with other such projects, special economic zones, free trade zones, and having a stronger presence there. Growing our economical might, and establishing a settlement that cannot physically be removed.
Right. Okay. Let me ask you a follow-up question on that, Dorian. How do you see our relations with Croatia and Serbia in 5 or 10 years? What do you think about that? Have you imagine what it could be like? If
Yeah,
things...
I think we just need to be ready, and we need to be in shape to take advantage of the opportunities that present themselves. Because right now, what is going to happen in 5 years? Will European Union federate? Will it fall apart? Will there be a nuclear war? What is the government going to be in Europe? Serbia? Will Serbia join the EU? Like, all of these questions have both the downsides and opportunities for us, and we just need to be ready to take the opportunity when it comes up. So, for example, right now it is relatively cheap to build our relationships with the opposition parties in Croatia, which can be in power in 4 years. So this kind of long-term thinking, like, we should take things that are cheap now, that have outsized return on investment in 5 years. So, for example, lobbying opposition parties or stuff like that. The problem that we have with Croatia, we don't actually have a problem with Croatian politicians. I talked to a dozen Croatian politicians, and they think Liberland is interesting or a bit crazy, but in the end, they don't care, right? They don't hate us. There is one organization that has a problem with us, and it has a problem with us because it's just an organization that's like conservative. It's the Ministry of Interior and intelligence agencies. But if the government changes, the politicians don't hate us. A change of the government could just solve all our problems.
That's true. And of course, we've had interesting dialogue with President Zoran Milanovic, who's of a different party, but still he's the president of Croatia. And that's a very interesting relationship. And I think you might have a good point about working with some of the opposition parties. Of course, as Ivan can attest to, they come and go, but they're definitely there, and there'll always be a changing palette. And of course, I think we can also approach not only the members of the Savoy and the national parliament, but also the regional ones too. I think that'll help out a lot. Hey, Dorian, what do you think? Who's influenced your outlook, your work, your approach to things? Dorian.
So one of the quotes that's around my mind in the last few months is one from Javier Milei, and it goes like this: "You cannot give shit leftists an inch because they will use it to kill you." A lot of us are libertarians because we just want to be left alone. But at some point you realize you are never gonna be left alone, and then it becomes something else. I truly believe that in Liberland we can build a libertarian paradise. But I am getting more black-pilled on this mentality that the rest of the world will be, for a period, run by warlords.
Well, I think the one thing that might be a consolation is that the other side, the bad guys, they're not sending their best. So thank you. Now, Dorian, I know for a fact that you've spent a lot of time in the nature in and around Liberland. What are your comments on our discussion?
Yeah, so originally when I was in school, the teachers would teach us about jungles and how they're important and how they're beautiful. Then I actually visited the jungle, and you hear the birds, but you notice that they're not singing, they're screaming in pain. If one of the most beautiful to me national parks in Croatia is Brijuni. Like, if you go to Brijuni, you'll see, like, wow, what amazing nature, what amazing forests. But it's actually not nature. Like, Brijuni was a swamp full of disease and death, and it took decades of terraforming to make it into this beautiful, hospitable place that it is right now. Brijuni, in my mind, is actually the one of the big successes of terraforming, and I kind of see Liberland in the same way. I mean, Liberland, that area, it's a forest, it's a jungle, it's a swamp. I mean, I like forests. I really don't like jungles and swamps. Um, and it is a relatively small area that is unique in the world. I recognize the importance of national parks. I think Croatia should have it. I think America should have it. But I don't think we have that luxury that preserving the forest that's exactly on our 7 square kilometers should be a priority. I think when we build up the city, the nation of Liberland, it will have a lot of beautiful parts because we will make them beautiful. But yeah, just preserving the mosquitoes. I don't see a huge point in doing that in Liberland.
Let's move to Dorian. Dorian, what are your thoughts on our approach to the great powers and how we could be, how we could play a role in being a small but forward-looking country between the great powers?
Liberland should be neutral, but Liberlanders should not. For example, I've had these questions a lot because, for example, the Ukraine question, right? A lot of Liberlanders support materially and physically Ukraine, and a lot of other Liberlanders support Russia. And we internally discussed this, but Liberland is officially neutral. And I think it's gonna continue to be that way in the future. So, of course, after we become a nation, yes, we will not have an official standing army, but what about private military corporations? Like, those private military corporations could operate internationally if we have agreements with them. Those are the questions that we'll have to grapple with. But officially, as a country, Liberland should be neutral, where Liberlanders should use their resources to influence the world in whatever way they want to, even if I
Okay.
don't agree with it.
I think you'll have a lot of people agree with you. Do any other of the panelists have experience with small nations, microstates, that might be able to be a good learning experience for us? Does anybody else have any comments on those?
I just lived in Prospera. Prospera is a special economic zone in Honduras. It is this concept of special economic zone and network states has a higher chance of success but lower reward, right? In Prospera, it's great. I mean, I love it. If you haven't been there, I recommend you go visit. It's nice. For example, Prospera is a hub for biotech, and you can go there to get experimental gene therapies. But these approaches have a limit because they are still at the mercy of their host states. So Liberland goes a step further with full sovereignty. But these other special economic zones, microstates, allow us a place to grow and put our ideas into action before we are ready to take that next step. So I believe that further cooperation and integration with them is important. So for example, cooperation with Prospera might get liberal companies access to bank accounts. This is definitely something that we should do, and is something that we're working on. This is just one example, but yeah, a lot of benefit can be gained by working with ideologically aligned projects like this.
Now, is Prospera on the island of Roatan or is it on the mainland?
Roatan, yeah. There is
Roatan.
another special economic zone, Ciudad Morazan, which is on mainland.